Okay, so welcome again. And I was just trying to connect to the cloud so that we'll be able to record this whole thing. So today we are into session 3 and welcome once again. Yes, as usual, I begin all my sessions, whether it is physical or hybrid or online, always with an icebreaker. So we have this time, which is known as shifting of gears. Okay, so when you talk about shifting of gears, it's basically I'll be giving you different, I'm showing you different images. We can call them index cards or flashcards or anything like that. If you're doing it in the physical mode, you can actually use them as a printed card. In this format, here we could use it more like a display card. So when you talk about a display card, I would specifically numbered it. Why do we number it? Because we'll be able to identify and ask the audience what it relates to. So like for example, when we say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, the request is you would relate it either to your birthday or your birth month or something special. uh, it could be relating to a date or a month or some sort of a number which you fancy or which you like. So that's basically how we are going to do on this. The themes are very different, and you need to relate how it's very useful from the point of training or from the point of facilitation or from the point of doing something in your workplace to improve your teammates' performance or productivity, or see that they're able to get some knowledge or something like that. So resonate it with something interesting, something valuable, something focused, something related to training or facilitation. Okay. So now, who would like to go in next? I mean, who would like to go now? Yes, Jagannath, would you like to try?
Yes, I have to choose I'll choose the sun.
Okay. So tell us how the sun resonates with you, Jagannath.
Uh, it is the 12 because I believe in Surya Namaskar, that is the sun salutation. So
Okay. Very good.
I ask for sun. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Wonderful, Jagannath. So he says the Surya Namaskar. Surya is supposed to be the most powerful god, and it gives a lot of energy and light and scope for growth and development. So that's absolutely fantastic. So let's all put our hands together and let's all give a big round of applause for Jagannath. Who's coming in next?
Good morning, sir. Could I try?
Yeah, please. Sure.
I'm taking a number of 9. It's looking like my department where I'm
Wow.
working now.
Okay.
In my career, when I started, the department looked like that. It's a incoming quality control where the material comes and loaded in a different bin, and I have to check that material by using some technical instruments.
Okay. Wonderful. So what is the learning for all of us?
Learning means I can say that when you think that you are starting from down position, but no, it's a starting of your basics. By doing downwards things, you can upgrade yourself.
Okay. Wonderful. Thanks, Monica. Associate itself with your beginning of your career and related to sending it to different areas as required with a specific process, technical process, or maybe a framework or something like that. And it gives you growth to develop. So wonderful. Yes, Jagannath ji, you raised your hand.
Yes, sir. I think what is on your mind that gets reflected while any person chooses any picture or color. That's what I perceive. And
Yes. You're right. You're right, Jagannath ji. You're right. Absolutely right. Wonderful. So who would like to go in next?
I can give a try, sir.
Yeah,
I can
please.
go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sure.
Yes,
So
Apurva.
yes, sir. I like to go ahead with number 4. This
Okay.
bike represents a lot of rides which I had with my father when I was growing up.
Okay.
So that's what this bike represents.
So how does it resonate with something useful or something meaningful or something to do with learning, some sort of a learning or something like that?
So learning, when we say, since it's a way of, commuting for a lot of people up and down, going through one way of going to work and coming back. So that's also one way of looking at it. It's a mode of transport for
Okay.
major part of India. So that's how it is. And for relating to it, I will use the anecdote that how I used to commute while I was growing up for my exam papers or for any sort of up and down.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, Apurva, wonderful, well done. So, in fact, you're associating the mobile with maybe an emotional bonding with your father when you used to travel with him. Plus, you're given a reference, very valid reference point by saying that during exams and things like that. So, it has given you the convenience of reaching the area fast. So, that's absolutely fantastic. Well done. So, yes, Ganesh, Ganesh, you're coming in next, or
Yeah,
we can
okay,
go on
I'll
to
go next,
Surajit.
sir. For me, I think I will go with the sixth picture. First of
Okay.
all, six is one of my favorite numbers. That's reason number one. And second is six very clearly depicts a completely diverse teams. I champion a lot of diversity, equity, inclusion. So six comes with a lot of colors of life, team together, walking together, facing the rains and braving the rains and achieving some goals. So that's how I look at sixes.
Oh, wow, wonderful, wonderful, Ganesh, wonderful, Ganesh. So, in fact, you're rotating it with different colorful umbrellas and working in teams and having a lot of diversity and a very positive participation involving different colors on a canvas where you can see it with a different lens and connect with everyone. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Well done. Yes, Surajit, come in.
So, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible, Surajit.
I would like to go with number 5, pizza.
Okay.
Being a foodie person, definitely that food something that connects me easily, and
Okay.
also uh, it's very interesting. Pizza as a food, it comes in in square box. It's actually a round shape food, and when we are eating it, it's in rectangular shape. So it shows that different different type of different variations of learning maybe and exploration and the root cause whenever we are exploring more and more we come to know like eye for detail, so something like that. I am connected with this.
Wonderful, 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 Surajit. Wonderful, wonderful. So, Surajit, you're connecting with the pizza with the different, possibly the different toppings and different fillings. And it relates to you with the different perspectives where you're able to view your team or members. That's a great learning. Wonderful. Well done. Someone has raised the hand. Yes.
So may I, sir, Priya?
Please, 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 please.
So I would like to go for number 7.
Okay.
Sir, actually, mobile is very useful for nowadays, even for communication and even for our classes also is very useful. But it reduces our family time. Earlier, we used to talk each other by face to face, but now everybody is concentrating on the phone. Even the kids are also, they are more interested to talk in the mobile phone than talk to face. So I think it's one of the disadvantages for that.
Okay. Padma Priya, that's well. That's nice. Your point is also appreciated. It's basically a way of remote connecting. You're able to connect to people across distances, share photographs, share pictures, images, multiple things. Where the world is becoming smaller, geographies are becoming very accessible because of this different social media apps on your mobile. But again, disadvantages could be that people are engaging themselves too much into the phones and they are not connecting in person, which
Yes,
is
sir.
actually more cherished or more useful. Wonderful. Well done. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, someone has raised the hand. Yes, two others have raised the hand. Yes, Mayuri, go ahead.
Good morning, sir. So I would go with picture number 3, coronavirus. And
Okay.
I'm sure not many would choose this. But for me, I think it signifies not what the virus is about, but what it got the human beings to do, which is express gratitude for what you have, live in limited means, and also the importance of family and being together, and how you can probably, look at adverse situation and find positivity out of it. That's the
Wonderful.
reason I would choose number 3.
Wonderful, Mayuri. Congratulations. So Mayuri has given a nice perspective. Now, earlier it was COVID. Now in Kerala it is NAFA, and God knows what's going to hit back. So we need to be very careful. We need to be very conservative. We need to use our scarce resources in a very optimum manner. We need to be very grateful and kind, and we need to empower each other, be kind to each other, so that we are all able to go ahead. Yes, some others have also raised their hands. Yes.
Yeah, myself, Rajni here, sir. I choose picture number 4, sir,
Yes,
because
yes,
I'm a biker, which gives me exploring of new places, and it also shows me about the teamwork when some bikerism, some difficulties, he's stuck with something where all other bikers will help him to go to the destination. So I feel the biker, which is relating to my job work, it is like more related with the teamwork, where we are exploring new technologies and coordinating with each other to reach our destinations. That is what
Wonderful, 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 Rajni, wonderful. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
yeah, it's correct, sir.
Okay,
It's correct.
okay. So I mean, it's basically a way of movement, a way of bonding with people, and you tend to support and collaborate and go different distances. So you're able to share, develop new friendships, and make alliances, make coalitions, make relationships. I mean, that's something very fantastic. Yes, well done. Anyone else would like to try? A couple
Yes,
of
sir.
other
I
people
would
are raising
like
hands.
to, sir. I would like to go for picture number 3.
Okay.
And I would like to give a different perspective what Mayuri has given. Now, when I see the coronavirus, I am imagining that how the work life changed after this coronavirus, how we started the work from home, the training went online, the education went online, the offices went paperless because there was a fear that it is being transmitted through paper also. So when I see coronavirus, so that is what is coming to my mind, that way the thoughts of the people in the work environment changed and the way innovation started happening very, very rapidly and things went online, including the training and the Zoom training which we are having today.
Wonderful, 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 Sapna. Absolutely great. I mean, the COVID gave us an option to connect remotely, to connect virtually, to enable the conversations to go across. I mean, it was basically the familiarity and the trust and the empathy which was flowing even through the screen. I mean, I think, in fact, a lot of relationships, a lot of compromises, a lot of flexibility, a lot of resilience, a lot of things have happened which never happened in the past. So that's amazing. That's amazing. Wonderful, Sapna. Well done. Yes, who would like to go in next?
Sir, me, sir.
Anil.
Bishop.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. No problem.
Sir, good morning, sir, and good morning to all. So I'd like to go for picture number 6. Because, sir, that implies to me that's there is various kind of obstacles in our life. It may be a sunny day, it may be a rainy days, but put together our effort or along with we can cross or overcome any of the obstacles. And that's the word, there's a sentence I have heard somewhere, the dancing under the rain. So whatever the obstacles is there, so if you are strong, if you are dedicated on, you can overcome any of the hard situation.
Wonderful, Vishwadeep. So, in fact, it may create an obstacle. I mean, but it makes you be ready, to handle that and go ahead, or maybe take a leap forward or something like that. Wonderful. Anil, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah, good morning, sir. Actually, I would like to go for picture number 12.
Oh, wow.
Okay, picture number 12 is, I will say that it is the most important thing. From 1 to 11 cannot exist without number 12.
Okay. Wonderful, Anil. That's absolutely. I mean, it is the energy. It's everything. It's basically the creator of energy, life, and everything. So all good things, all bad things, everything needs to exist under the sun. So we will take inspiration, and we'll get to do a lot of better things with the inspiration coming in from sun, the smiling sun. Wonderful. Well done. Anyone else who would like to go ahead?
Morning, sir. I would like to go over the picture number 1. Am I audible?
Yes. Oindrela, you are audible. Yes.
Okay, this picture always reminds me about a vacation. It may be a vacation with team member or vacation with family. After kind of work we are doing, it reminds me of vacation. And the picture of river itself, the river is always flowing. So it's a kind of for learning and development, knowledge is always flowing. It is never be stagnant. So the picture resembles something like that to me.
You are reflecting with 11, Oindrela?
Sorry?
You are reflecting with the number 11?
No, number 1. I mentioned.
Okay, number one. Okay. Because there was some disturbance in between. That's what.
Okay. I will say that it reminds me of vacation. It can be with the team member or with my family after a long period of working, after exams and all this. And the river is always flowing, so it reminds me the flowing of knowledge as well. Knowledge is never be stagnant; it's always being it is transferred from one to another. So it is just like that.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, Oindrilla. Congratulations. So in fact, this shows basically you could take a small trip and maybe travel with your family, friends, office people, and things like that. So it's going to be something nice, interesting, sharing, engaging with each other. I can have one more. Any one? I mean, from the numbers which have not been covered.
Could I try, sir, for number
Yeah,
11?
Please.
By giving this number, I am saying about that the unlock your dreams. Sometimes we have a different kinds of dreams and we do not want to open our dreams, like our capability. Sometimes we lock our capability. We think that we cannot do this thing, but nothing is impossible in this world. When you try again and again, definitely you can do that thing. That's why I'm giving you a message: unlock your dream. You have key in your hand.
Unlocking your dreams. I mean, going into your maximum, doing your best. Wonderful, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So thanks and congratulations to all of you. Well done, absolutely well done. So this is basically an interaction. Always understand icebreakers are compulsory, whether you do it for a small crowd or even if it's just 2 or 3, cracking a joke, sharing an activity, asking some questions. It could be anything. So it's absolutely well done because you get a fresh perspective and it's absolutely appreciated. Now the session agenda which we will try to cover is the facilitation techniques which are being used, common training methods, the identification of training needs and analysis, goals and learning objectives, new knowledge, new skills, new attributes, planning the content, audience, the learner characteristics, methods of contextualization, and presentation style. Now, this is totally in sync with your syllabus, with the spiral bound copy which you have got. So this is more or less related to your syllabus. Of course, things are slightly different when I go into the content, but the flow remains the same. Okay. So now here, when you're talking about, and we'll try to understand what goals are about. When you talk about facilitation goals or training goals or facilitator goals, it's basically related to 4 areas or 4 pillars: new knowledge, a sharing of something new, describing of facts, concepts, principles, SOPs. A facilitator is considered to be someone like maybe a philosopher, a guide, a coach, a mentor, someone who's there to improvise, someone who's there to empower, someone who's there to lift you up and take you to the next level. So that's new knowledge. So certain times new knowledge, or maybe even if you've got the knowledge, a new perspective, a new outlook would be actually matching this pillar. The second pillar is new skills. It relates to describing of skills, whether it is physical, mental, or performance. You would use your hand and head. Okay, so hand would relate to maybe the keyboard skills or different other software which you're going to use, and your mind would relate to certain mental abilities which will help you perform the job better. Pillar number 3 would relate to new attributes. New attributes. Attribute is something like values or something like a criteria or something which relates to something interesting. So it would relate to different description of standards of behavior, values, beliefs. So talking about attitude, talking about a positive approach, talking about being good, talking about being kind, talking about being grateful. I need to do it. You need to do it as a trainer, as a facilitator, as a mentor, as a coach, as an educator. The 4th pillar is a training context. Training context would relate to type. I need to understand when I'm developing or designing my training session, I need to understand what is the type of training required? Who are the people? I need to answer all those questions. What, when, why, how, where. Related with objectives, related with the outcomes which are proposed. So we'll be able to get a lot of things when we are able to put the context into place. So the type is very important. Audience is very important. When you talk about audience, it could be school children, it could be college students, it could be working professionals, it could be managers, it could be leaders, it could be an open house which will have a mix of people. It could be people from different domains. It could be from a specific department. So Jaisa Desh Vaisa Base. So accordingly, you will curate the content and deliver. You will prepare the training module depending upon the demographic data which is available of the audience. The training provider, the training vendor, your company, or whoever is engaging you will be able to give sufficient data, not necessarily very specific data, but details like what position they are into, what age groups they are into, what sort of experience they come with, what sort of background do they have, what sort of outcomes are expected, what sort of gaps are being identified, what is needed to take them to the next level. So this will help a facilitator to go to the next level. Aids. When you talk about aids is support material. It could be maybe flip charts. It could be maybe stick me ups. It could be maybe collaborative arrangements which are being done either on the virtual format or maybe on the hybrid format or in the offline format which we'll be using. So multiple aids. It could be pictures, gadgets, devices, toys, papers. It could be absolutely anything. Of facilities, we need to understand what facilities. When you talk about facility, the facility, common facilities are needed to be provided. A proper sitting place, proper lighting, proper washroom facility, hospitality arrangements, sanitation facilities, and things like that. Infrastructure would relate to the complete building, the access, the travel, and all those things to the venue. So this is in broad the 4 pillars: new knowledge, new skills, new attributes, and the training context. Who's a facilitator and how does it work? A facilitator has to deal with the audience. The first thing is you need to relate with the audience. Till the time I know, till the time you know, who is the audience? Why is this specific audience needed to be catered to? What is the purpose of this training? What is the purpose of this facilitation exercise? How they need to be trained? How they need to be facilitated? Where it's going to be done? Now, even where will bring in a lot of difference. Why where will bring in a lot of difference? Can anyone suggest? Why do you think where makes a lot of difference? I'm giving you a simple example. Assume that you're going to have a training session or a facilitation session in your office, in your premises. People will not be that very active, but the moment you shift it to an outdoor premise, a banquet facility, a hotel, maybe some sort of a resort or something like that, away from work, the engagement is always better. So it will all depend upon where the training is also being conducted, when it is being done. When is also very important. Why this when is important? Because imagine if you're going to schedule your trainings or your facilitation programs during the weekly offs. People are not happy, but they would be happy if you keep it during working hours or working days. So all these things need to be considered when you need to have a proper engagement from the audience. Skills. Presentation skills, convincing skills, handling of questions, handling of queries, giving suggestions, giving leads, connecting with the points, debriefing, moderating, careful listening, active listening, comprehending, cognition, multiple skills you are going to have, understanding, being grateful, being kind, so many of those skills, all people skills which you will need to have. Culture, you need to be very sensitive to culture. Culture is basically a very difficult area to understand, very complex. It would depend upon maybe customs, maybe beliefs, maybe taboos, maybe certain types of clothing, certain types of food habits, certain types of even holidays for that matter. You need to gel with that culture. You will not able to enforce your culture onto them. You need to sensitize as a facilitator or a trainer with the overall specific audience culture. So if you are in Dubai, please expect that the trainings would never happen on Fridays because they've got prayers. But possibly if it's in the Europe, a training would never happen on Saturdays because they call it an off day. Saturday, Sundays is known as an off day. So different cultures, different food habits, different timings, different connect would be very important. The comprehension, the complete comprehension of the training program, the content, the concept, the context, everything needs to be linked so that it is very comprehensive and easy to understand. The support system, tech support, back-end support, any sort of a support for that matter needs to be arranged in a proper manner so that a training session can go in full swing. The objectives are met, the outcomes are achieved. So support has to be there. Demographics, you need to identify demographics. When you say demographics, if you try to mix and match different multi-generational people with one specific objective, it may not work unless until you have a holistic set of objectives. It may work if you have got multiple generation or different age groups. So depending upon the demographics, you will have to customize in the interest of those people coming in from different generations who may be part of an organization, part of a department, maybe part of an open house. The level of motivation has to be constant, irrespective whether the person is going to retire next one or the next person has joined in just a couple of days back. The level of motivation, the level of engagement, the level of curiosity creation, the level of bonding, gelling, being in sync is absolutely mandatory. You don't have a choice. As a facilitator, you will manage the show. I mean, it's basically a stagecraft actually. So a lot of flexibility, a lot of, flexibility needs to be there, relating to timings, relating to activities, relating to the approach, relating to the presentation, but not deviation. Flexibility means certain adjustments, certain things could be relaxed. The delivery pattern, not too long, not too short, giving a lot of variety, very important. The timings, span of time, whether it's a half-day event, whether it's a full-day event, whether it is a reciprocal event, whether it is an event which is going to be repeated every Sunday for the next 5 Sundays, or is it 3 days a week? How does it work? The timings will depend upon the module, the sensitization, what sort of objectives, what sort of outcomes need to be offered. Identifying the learner, very important. Now this could be certain things. We make a lot of mistakes when we judge participants, learners, students. We need to have a lot of study, a lot of insights on what types of learners are there, what language do they speak. I mean, I could be good in English, but if I'm addressing a mixed audience who cannot understand English, then I would like to possibly, share certain important things, maybe in Hindi or in Marathi or in Gujarati or in Tamil or something like that, depending upon making it slightly more interesting and engaging. Language, the communication is very important. The culture again, education, the gender. You need to be very specific when you're dealing with genders because you're going to be in the framework of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. No discrimination, no bias, no conditioning of your mind against anyone whatsoever. Everyone is equal. The age groups, the physical abilities, the knowledge, skills, abilities, attitude, the experience, the DEIB I rightly told you earlier, and engaging with differently abled people. You need to have a different mindset, a different approach, maybe a different technique if required. Sorry. So contextualization of programs. When you're contextualizing a facilitation program or a training program, different tools, different techniques, different methods. Even a lecture is a method. Even an activity is a method. Showing a video clip could be a tool. Raising a poll could be a tool. Doing a breakout room could be a tool. So it all depends upon how the tools are actually in sync with the program. What is the standard operating procedure applicable for that specific training program? The philosophy, the assessments, integrated assessments, continuous assessments, multiple choice question assessments, certain activities, certain pre-work, certain post-work, certain formative assessments, certain summative assessments, all going to depend upon what sort of learner assessments are actually being asked for. Activities which you're going to use, the language which you're going to use, the sequence, what comes first, what comes next, what comes with the flow. Very important. The delivery plan, absolutely important and crisp. The delivery plan should include number and the names of the learners. We need to have a complete naming list. It makes it easier rather than calling someone like one with the green shirt, one with the pink dress, or something like that. We need to have names where we say Mayuri or Varun or Surajit or Deepu or Ganesh or Jagannath or Oindrila or Anil. That makes it more clearer. So that's why the name list or recall and recollecting the learner's name is very important. The venue, again important, will relate to access, travel, reaching the place, and all those things. The objectives need to be very carefully sifted and understood from the stakeholder point of view, from the company point of view, from the learner point of view, from your point of view. Notes, support, all those things. Even though it's a lot of it may be online also, still some notes would be great to support it. Different activities, different things which you can use, the duration, the assessment, the delivery, the resources, and EHS. What is EHS, friends?
Is that environment, health and
Environment,
safety?
health and safety.
Very good, Ganesh. Yes, employee health and safety. You need to see that the room is nice, properly positioned, no plaster falling off, no wobbling furniture, the staircase is quite safe if you're going to use a staircase and all those things, So employee health and safety. So participant health and safety is of great importance. It will all affect the presentation style. The height of the ceiling, the type of light, the water facility being available, the sanitary conveniences being available, all those things will matter. The type of food being served. So all those things will really matter, which will be part of your delivery plan, even though you may not be directly linked to it. You need to assure, assume, confirm, and mandate whether all those things are there. Now, section 3 is choosing of training methods. Here, the purpose is very clear. Why this method is required? Why lecture? Why Zoom? Why a poll activity? Why a breakout room? It could be whatever. So the reasons need to be specified and what needs to be done. So when you're answering, you're able to answer the purpose. Setting up a benchmark. What is the benchmark? Setting up of a competency standard. When you compare skill and competency, skill is basically something where you learn to do something better, some sort of an improvement. But competency would relate to a behavior associated or observed with the skill. So taking it to the next level, becoming more proficient, becoming more competent, that's basically setting a benchmark, setting a standard, setting specific thresholds for you to achieve. When you say you to achieve, it's basically for the participants to achieve. The scope, specific learning outcome. If you're trained on this, if the facilitation session is going to deal on this, what would be the learning outcome? Whatever the training program, it may be interpersonal relationships, it may be communication skills, it may be safety at the workplace, it may be anything for that matter, advanced Excel, whatsoever. There will definitely have to be a learning outcome that the participant will be able to do this after the training program. It doesn't mean that the trainee or the participant is going to be an expert, but yes, familiarity, operationally, functionally, learning how to do certain things, improvise, all those things would happen. So again, related with knowledge, skills, attitudes, ability. The target group, who? You need to focus on who's very important, who is basically the participant, and what is the company. The learning environment, where, how. You'll see that many of the times there will be a lot of repetition, but this is basically to confirm and affirm, and it's a sort of a recap. Operational requirements should relate to services, support, material, resources, technology. Access to other sources of information. You will be getting information. Why is this information required? Because maybe there are certain observations, maybe there are certain performance review or appraisal inputs which are given to you, so that we are able to understand the skill gaps. We are there to improve, develop people, to see that they go to the next level. So that's very important. We need to have certain information. We are not interested in finding out specifically related to which person. We are interested in finding out the skill gap of certain specific people so that we can improve them, we can make them perform better, we can make them understand better, we can make them comprehend better, we can make them do their tasks in a better manner. So now we have a breakout room activity. What you're going to do is, yes, now it's written as 5 rooms. Yes, 5 is possible, even though the number is a bit less. I want you to take a screenshot or an image of this. The first room would say, what do you understand by training methods? 2, who are your clients? How could you identify a client needs? Room number 3, how could you determine your goals and objectives? 4, how could you determine the characteristic of your learner cohorts? 5, how could you contextualize your learning program? Anyone knows what is a cohort?
It is a
Group
group,
of
sir.
participants.
It's a group. It's a group. Yes, wonderful, Jagannath ji. Absolutely. I mean, a cohort is basically a group of people who come with a specific agenda to learn or develop or understand something. So absolutely. So have you all taken a pic of this? Can I stop sharing and create a breakout room?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm just giving some people more time, because sometimes some people are still doing it. So that's what. Okay, so welcome back. So some of you all have not been able to join. That's okay, because it could be the internet or the there could be some variance in the electricity and things like that. Okay. So fine. Now one of the rooms had Barun, Deepa, and yes, I mean Barun's group. Would you like to try? Yes, Barun.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
I will speak on the behalf of Varun is in my group. I'm
Sure,
speaking
sure,
Monica.
sure.
In our group, the question was, who are your clients and how could you identify your clients' needs?
Okay.
We will describe about the first we will identify the what is the age group of our clients. Like we will search here that the background, mid level, top level, technical background and hierarchy, present and past experience, and after that we will see that the what management want to them learn, and again we will identify that needs.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So you'll decide, I mean, you'll check out with the people from which background they're coming in and what sort of training is required, and
Present
then go ahead.
experience, past experience,
Past
and the
experience. Very good, very good. Wonderful,
management
wonderful.
goal and mission.
Wonderful.
And another person want to
Yes,
add,
yes.
they can add.
Very good, very good, very good, very good. Well done, well done. Okay, I mean, the other group had Anil, Jagannath, Mallesh, Oindrila, and Surojit.
Yes, I would like to say.
Yes, sure, Surojit.
So the question was, how can you determine the characteristics? Sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry. How can you determine the characteristics the learner cohorts? So the few points that we have highlighted here is that data collection or maybe data analysis of the learner in terms of their background check, in terms of which profile that they're working or maybe which position, which department. Then the next is their performances for let's say last 3 months performance. Then maybe a basic feedback from the reporting manager and maybe the survey before the training start. It's kind of a pre-test kind of a concept. And apart from that, one more point that has come up, that which all the learner could be from different department or the segment, but they should have one agenda for everyone. So that those are the points that we have highlighted.
Wonderful, wonderful, Surojit and team. You all have done very well, very well. Well done. So now there's another team, Apurva, Ganesh, Mona
Yes, sir.
Lisa, Kanaya.
Yes, sir. So we are breakout number 3. We had Ganesh Ram, we had Monalisa, we had Kanaya Tiwari, Shaunak Kharod, and Manjuma. These were the people that we had. And for us, the point was that how can you determine your goals and objective of the respective training set which you are going to get. So first and foremost, what we are going to get, we are going to get a quick review, could be by filling a form, could be by conducting a questionnaire to understand that what are the areas that we are missing there, that what is the current situation they are struggling with. By that, I will also get to know the need assessment. I will get to know the TNA over there. I will set a SMART goal for them, which is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound for the employees to understand. Then, out of the entire goals which I'm setting, I'm also going to prioritize what is the most important for them. Now, considering that I am into an sales training I'm conducting for them, there the performance matters a lot, the numbers matters a lot, right? When I have conducted the need assessment there, I will understand what is your current area and what is the knowledge we need to pertain it over there. I will also take the feedbacks from the BU heads, from the mentors, from the employer who is working with them. I will give them the necessary resources, which could be in help for them for their further use. I will create a dedicated training plan. I will also do one very important thing, that whenever we do a training, we plan out the next 2 months or 3 months to understand that how effective my training was. So I will also follow up to monitor their progress. Are they able to go through what exactly I have taught them in the right way or not? In case somebody achieves that, I will also be conducting a quick R&R session as a motivation, as an achievement for them. In case somebody is not, since I set up a SMART goal for them, I will also let them know that where exactly we diverted that we were not able to reach. And if we have reached till there, it means something we have that we can do better. Last but not the least, we'll be just doing the evaluation part of it, that what my aspirations are of where I've reached and how much more I have to do so far. So this was breakout number 3. If anybody else wants to add from the team, please go
Perfect. I
ahead.
think very well summarized.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I think in fact very systematically presented with point wise. Absolutely wonderful, Apurva. Great job. Absolutely well done. Congratulations to the whole team. Okay, so now we have there's one breakout room with no one has gone. That's okay. So that happens. That happens when you do automatic. All those things are bound to happen. So Mohini and Padma Priya were in the next group. Now this is the 4th group actually.
So I'm in the 5th group, sir.
No. I know. I mean, the group is 5, but group 1, no one has gone. I mean, no one has joined, even though they were inside. That's what I meant to say. So you're in group 5. That's right. Padma Priya, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So in our group now, we go for the topic, how can you contextualize your learning program? So in that topic, we discuss in the group and we come up with some of the points. Basically think that contextualization is linking all the required set of content to be in that program. So for that, we discussed that why we need to do it. We must be clear why we conduct this program and what can we do to improve this, and what are the approaches, methods we need to use, how we can present and all that. And for that, we need to design the effectiveness, and we define the groups and design the assessments. And while preparing all this, we need to discuss about the social concerns, what all the things to be added in that content. That's all, sir. That's all.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful group. So, I mean, 4 groups have participated. There's one where no one had joined. Absolutely no problem. I mean, you all enjoyed and you all are given your valid points. Highly appreciated. It. I mean, this is the way where actually you can really go ahead, because you get a lot of viewpoints and you're able to share a lot of things. So that's something nice. So let's go back to sharing of the screen so that we can continue with the content. Okay, so we have a summative assessment. Now in this summative assessment, actually, there is a presentation marking criteria checklist in that spiral bound book, which has got that bluish color bind, So here you need to refer to page number 101 and 102. So you can decide upon different criteria. It's a beautiful checklist which has been made. So you can just check this checklist out. And once you're familiar with this checklist, possibly we can have an assignment or something like that for the last session, that is session 5. So the scenario is, as a new joinee, facilitator would prepare a 10-minute presentation for learners on the career option. This is just a suggestion, basically, where they're given a scenario and you could actually work on creating a training module or design a training module for a person who's going to join, a new joinee, some sort of an induction, maybe virtual, maybe actual, maybe a blend or something like that, and share the career options. So now we are going on to module 2. This is basically we have completed module 1. I mean, we are capsulated, of course. We have not gone into too much of depth, but we have covered most of the areas. Module 2. So we'll be able to go on to training methods and the various types. Now the session agenda would be methods of training and the right situation for effective delivery. We could consider lecture, case study, role plays, games, laboratory training, individual and group assignments, discussion modes, whether it is group discussions, pain discussions, brainstorming, demonstrations, assignment projects, work-based learning, community-based methods, facilitated techniques, facilitated toolkit, adult learning, collaboration, using of support services, criteria for selection of training aids, and reviewing of training programs. So we'll go on to the lecture. We'll, of course, all of you are familiar with the word lecture. I mean, the concept is basically verbal, uninterrupted presentation. You have a large mass, a large audience, and you tend to teach maybe a subject or a concept. So in certain cases, lecture also may be used, but not necessarily that the audience is going to be very large, because in training and facilitation, we normally feel that 15 to 20 should be max, so that we are able to create the right impact and they're able to learn. The way forward is using of feedback. Maybe a questionnaire could be shared with questions and answers from the audience. What went well and what did not. So depending upon the lecture, you'll be able to find out one, share the questionnaire, ask questions, generate answers, generate responses, and of course, find out overall through a feedback system what went well and what did not. Next is case study. This is very interesting. I am of the opinion that case studies should be offered from a different domain perspective. So even if you are in the automobile sector or some sort of a manufacturing sector or anything for that matter, you should go in for related case studies from the service industry or from the finance or any other industry, because the perspective, the context, the flavor would be very different. The concept is create a sort of a story. It could be in the form of a report, maybe an illustration, followed by analysis. It is good for interpreting, helps to solve problems, and of course, handling of situations. A case study could be as small as a caselet, which is 4 lines, to a case study which runs into 30, 40 pages. And there are people who do these case studies at the IIMs and the XLRIs for weeks together, because you need a lot of calculation, you need a lot of things. Of course, at ISTD, we'll be using very modest case studies, very simple and interesting and relevant case studies, featuring only to the training and L&D domain. The way forward is to using of these case studies to analyze a situation, present the findings, create an argument, create a counter argument if required, have an hypothesis, have a different perspective. Now, this will be very useful for you as an input when you're going to do your internship project report after the final semester. So you could use some related case studies connecting with your topic or connecting with your project, which will be very useful. Now we go on to role plays. The concept is using of games, using of simulations, role plays. It helps you to explore attitudes, values, and interpersonal skills. The way forward is exploring potential responses. How do people respond in a given situation? How to improvise, how to handle a complaint, how to listen better, how to work better. It could be anything. So whatever the role plays, there is a specific purpose. There is a specific outcome. There are certain specific set objectives. I've got a suggestion to make. When you talk about role plays, it is not just plain role plays, but reversal role plays also are very important. When you just talk about role plays, it is you as my manager and I as a salesman, for example. But in the immediate next sequence, I need to be the manager and you need to be the salesman. Only in that case can the connect be. I can empathize by being in your shoes and you can empathize by being in my shoes. So role plays can have both the effects, a normal role play between a supervisor and an employee, and again a reversal of roles where the employee becomes a supervisor and the supervisor becomes an employee. And then the facilitator is able to moderate and find out the good things which are required to be done by the supervisor and by the employee. So both will have a great value add. Okay, so now we have training methods. This is known as games and lab training. When you talk about games, you could have multiple games starting from board games. I mean, whether you have chess or you have virtual games or you have gaming stations, you have multiple types of quizzes which are generated. This will help enabling the potential, the intelligence, the options, the difficulties, the shortcuts, multiple things you'll be able to find out so that your activity, your task, your performance is enabled, is better. The benefits are better. It is more precise, more qualitative, more synchronized with time and things like that. So this is just to familiarize you with certain games and all. Gradually, you'll be discussing a lot of these games and all those things in different subjects also. Now, when you do a lab training is where you could use anything. It could be a scientific, it could be a scientific process. It could be maybe a cookery process, maybe a bakery process, maybe an housekeeping function, maybe a training restaurant, maybe a retail facility. maybe a facility management session. It could be anything where lab-based training could be done, where you could have a formative assessment. You could have a pop-up quiz if it's online. You could have a conversation style where you can discuss, observe certain scenarios. You could have brief question and answers to understand whether the training which has been imparted, the demonstration, the value of feedback, the value for improvement is being done. Discussions, whether it is group discussions, whether it is brainstorming, the concept is basically creating some sort of a noise which really matters. So buzz groups, brainstorming, structured discussions where you give a topic, they are supposed to work within the peripheries or within the contours of that scenario or that title or that theme which has been shared with them. This would relate to the topic which is selected or given. So you need to be very careful. Now, when you use the word buzz group, once upon a time, many years back, now also we follow the electronic format. People used to literally share the question, give them time, and ring the bell so that you are supposed to give in your responses. People would learn to respond. That would be needed to be moderated or debriefed. So that's basically how you need to understand. The way forward is using of questions, which could be used to analyze, solving of problems, defining of outcomes. There must be something concrete which comes out through a discussion. May require some specific allocation of tasks, may require assessment of work or situation. So this would give a complete view where you have many people, or at least a certain number of people who could give in their viewpoints or who could give in their suggestions, who could work on that theme and offer their responses for validation. Then you have assignments and projects and reports. You could have essays, you could have projects, you could have reflections, you could have reports, you could have short research-based inputs, you could have maybe short notes, short questions, so that people will get familiar. Your response sheet basically is a format of this. It's an assignment which you need to have in a specific number of words, submitted in a specific format for evaluation. So this is a format to show that there is some learning involved, there is some gathering of information, there is some awareness of information. The way forward is to explore solving of problems, being analytical, making a demonstration, and knowledge. When you talk about knowledge, it's basically creation of knowledge, retention of knowledge, and transfer of knowledge. So you need to be very careful in understanding and doing this in a very nice manner so that you are able to understand, you are able to present, you are able to develop, and you are able to take it across with your teams. Work-based learning at the workplace. So the on-the-job training, mentoring, coaching are certain areas which could be work-based. The way forward would be undertaking of real work-based activities related to the task, related to an activity, related to a shift, related to an employee, related to a specific team. So you could have certain activities, you could have certain monitoring, you could have certain control, you could have certain assessments, you could link theory and practice to fortify and make it better, solve problems, create a complete holistic learning environment, specifically related to the task or activity or department or section or function concerned, for bringing them to the next level, for reducing the flaws, for reducing the mistakes, reducing the errors, making it more qualitative, making it more customer oriented, or making it more outcome based. Individual and group assignments. Many things are, because these are methods, sometimes you may find a mix of certain things. The concept is custom fit learning material, maybe modeling in the sense modeling of answers, model answers, demos, visuals, peer learning, discuss it in groups, creating an opportunity. The way forward would be knowledge and skill check and presentation in groups. You create the opportunity for, as a facilitator, as a trainer, giving an individual assignment, giving a pre-work, giving a pre-work is basically before the evaluation or before the assessment to the group or the individual. You have a presentation, let them speak, let them explain, and you'll be able to check and based on their presentations made. The discussion modes could be on the ground. The round would be maybe related to the table type or the panel type or the brainstorming. Again, you could have concept of on-the-job training, mentoring, coaching. The way forward would be, this will all lead to triggering of curiosity. People will understand. People will be very anxious to learn. It will help them to develop themselves and conclude the conversation, to start the conversation, engage with the conversation, and finish the conversation with something nice, something interesting, something developmental, something pragmatic, something to be in connect with the organizational philosophy and be on track. Demonstrations and presentations. This is the best format. When you talk about demonstrations and presentations, if I do something and you are going to copy that with my instructions, you do it much better. So a demonstration, a presentation. So you could involve a demonstration. Like for example, I'll just tell you, maybe certain types of cookery classes, certain types of cake icings, maybe making of cocktails, maybe making a mobile app-based payment, maybe accessing a social media. It could be anything. You demonstrate, you instruct, people follow, people do it with you, and people do it after you. So there is an explanation, there is an instruction, there is a feedback. The way forward is helps to do the assessment, debrief for the area of improvement. If people are not doing well, you could actually make them practice for longer time so that they become more proficient, they're enabled to do the things in a much better manner. Now, this is one of the best formats the world cafe setting. It's basically something like a coffee shop. The co-founders are Jay Brown and D. Isaacs, who introduced this very powerful conversational process. It's something like a cafe, something like a restaurant. So people are put together, they're put in clusters, they're put in across tables, they're able to share their intelligence and create actionable results. It's a spectrum of cutting edge possibilities. People discuss, people talk, people respond, people exchange, people connect over issues. And the participants would include maybe individuals, communities, organizations, where the experience is completely inclusive. Inclusive means it includes all the people who are sitting across the tables. So how do we do it? Setting the context. We need to set the context first. You need to create that ambience. You need to create that environment. You need to create that hospitable space. When you talk about hospitable space, maybe you could put in some mint or maybe some chocolates or some Mentos or something like that. People feel more comfortable. Let them pair up, let them group, let them be divided into different clusters. Explore the questions that really matter. Put in questions which people in all the clusters or all the tables would be able to answer. Encourage every person's contribution. If there are 20 people, 30 people, everyone's contribution. It could be recorded or it could be demonstrated in the form of a pointer or a trigger on a chart, on a flip chart. Connect with diverse perspectives. You may get different people, different viewpoint, different thinking. So let's all take the connect together, listen together so that you're able to get the correct insight. And of course, have a collective discovery. So this is basically something very interesting. This is being followed by a lot of organizations in India and abroad. It's one of the best where the setting is very informal and sometimes it could be associated with tea, coffee, hot chocolate, maybe soft drinks, maybe flavored sodas, maybe sandwiches, canapes, and things like that. Okay. So the model steps is basically 5 components which form the basic model: setting up of the environment, welcoming and interactions. You need to introduce so that people know each other by name. A small group rounds. Do not make it too huge because it will get diffused. Jagannath, I'll come to you. A prefaced question, specific questions, harvesting of insights. The World Cafe is focusing on what really matters, contributing to each person's thinking, speaking your mind and heart out, listening to understand, linking and connecting of ideas, listening together for insights and deeper questions, maybe playing, maybe doodling, maybe cartooning, maybe drawing, maybe calligraphy, and having a lot of fun. Yes, Jagannath, I can take your question. Please go ahead.
The question about this, right? You mentioned you make them comfortable by putting some chocolate. but recently I got training for our apprentice development officers, and what was happening, they were actually so that so I found it very insulting for that speaker. This is my perspective. What do you say about it?
That's
मुझे
fine.
ऐसा लगता है कि सामने वाला अगर सिखा रहा है अपना जी जान लगा के, तो जो लर्नर्स है वो सिंसियरली सुने उसको। वो चाय पी रहे, कॉफी पी रहे, सर्व खा रहे सामने बैठ के, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि दैट इज
No, that's okay. That's okay. It could be associated with certain breaks in between. I mean, it's not that you continuously have. What has happened is World Cafes come from abroad, so people in Europe, people in the US actually prefer having sips of coffee, and they say, dimag ki batti khul jati. Here also people eat Mentos and all that during the training sessions with a very positive perspective. I mean, so it depends. If you feel something like that, that it is actually hampering your activity, you may not put it, or you may have specific designated intervals when you can have a round, maybe a round of juice or something like
no
that, a
because,
small juice glass or something like that. That's absolutely fine. No worries. Okay.
no sir, because we are having intermittent tea breaks as well, isn't it? That's why I
Yes,
asked.
yes. This is actually contextual, Jagannath ji. I mean, it's certain people do it just to add flavor and just to give it a different feeling, actually, to make them feel more informal, something like that. Okay. So this I found this something
Thank you.
very beautiful. So I said, let me share this. I mean, most of the things we have discussed. So World Cafe will have certain guidelines where you're actually facilitating yourself, you're explaining, you're welcoming, you're contributing to the thinking, you're speaking with the mind, you're focusing on what really matters. Maybe drawing, playing, doodling, certain things you're going to do, so that some value add is there based on the theme question. Okay. Listening together, putting in your minds together, hearts together, and linking to the ideas, so that you're able to understand the pattern or the insight and develop a deeper connection. So next is the flipped classroom. Flipped classroom is something where you actually flip. You watch the learners watch online lectures, collaborate in online discussions, or carry out research at home, which actively engaging concepts in the classroom with a facilitator or a mentor's guidance. Lectures are shared outside of class time for individual review as homework, and classroom is reserved for class discussion. So this is basically two parts. You can do certain amount of, you can share maybe a video or maybe some sort of a lecture or something like that, or maybe an online forum discussion which people can view, see, understand, comprehend, and then come back and work in the class. So there would be a connect, there is some preparation, and then you tag it on to something more important. So that's what a flipped classroom is. You flip it on to the next level. So there is some activity in the beginning which sets the impetus, and then you go on and commit and do. So this is basically how it works, now what? This diagram I found beautiful. It's basically learner generated. Now what? Then it relates to educators suggested, where it talks about experience. Again, what? So you have see the complete cycle. So what? Multiple things. Creating of personalized project presentations, games, simulations, experiments, community projects, activities. Okay. Video lectures, audio lectures, content-rich webcast, online chats, audio visual. So you can have reflective videos, blogging. So multiple things could be used so that things are synchronized, where asynchronous and synchronous. Synchronous, it may be hybrid also, it may be live also, it may be a blend of offline and online. It may be in premise and physical. It might be entirely physical also. So multiple things are possible when we think of different options and different engagement. So that's basically how it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop sharing here because it's almost time up. I'll take some questions. Yes. Any questions? Anything? Any queries?
No, sir, from my side.
Okay. So in fact, one thing I would like to say that many of these methods are being explained briefly. It's not that which method is right, which method is wrong, or do we use this and do we avoid the other. Whatever you feel best, you can combine. You can mix match. Sometimes what I do is I try to pick up something new when I'm doing it for a new audience. So what happens in that process, I also do a lot of research. I also do a lot of learning. I also do a lot of practice before I can actually implement it in the session. So different settings are possible, different things are there, different learnings are there. And facilitation is all about learning, learning to grow, learning to develop, learning to empower, learning to make people respond. So that's basically how it is. Less from our side, more from the participant side, more from the learner side. So that's how we keep the engagement so that we are able to debrief. It could be maybe a video, it could be maybe an activity, it could be maybe a breakout room, it could be maybe a poll activity, it could be maybe a Mentimeter, it could be maybe using of a Kahoot when I'm talking about virtual. It could be maybe doing some sort of an activity, outdoors, anything. It could be an adventure, it could be absolutely anything which promotes and instigates. You are able to provoke people to think, demonstrate, learn, respond, suggest, whatsoever. But the funda is very common, that you will not deviate from the theme or from what has been asked for you to do. As a facilitator, you need to be very, very careful. It is not training. Training is basically more like, you have the agenda, you have the certain things, certain applications which you need to do so that people will become better. Here, it's basically making the person realize, understand, develop, and go to the next level. So there's some difference over here. Of course, a lot of overlap will be there in certain methods which are being used. So that's basically how it is. So yes, with this, friends, any questions from your side? I'll be sharing the content, so not to worry. So thank you so much. God bless you.
So,
And
sorry, one
yes,
question.
Mayuri. Yes, Mayuri. Go
I'm
ahead.
very
Go ahead. Yes,
sorry.
yes.
So, sir, in the session, you did mention about the internship program and, the things that we'll have to do. Would it be possible for you in one of the sessions to talk a bit more about it? Whilst we have the internship guideline, I just wanted to understand on how to go about it. And I am sure that question a lot of people have. So if you are the right person, sir, then if you could help us out.
No. Of course, I've been guiding a lot of students and things like that. Now, that's basically a difficult area for us to address. What we can do is maybe we can discuss this either on WhatsApp or something like that. I'm part of your group, so we can always connect and maybe work out something like that. So that's much
Definitely,
easier.
sir.
I'll definitely definitely I'll be able to help you out in the sense, maybe make you some suggestions or offer you some document for you to study, so that life would be much easier in developing life. When you say, you'll be surprised, all of you will be surprised that I've got certain diploma students who have completed the full diploma, the assignments and the examinations, but 10 years and they have not completed their internship project report. I keep wondering why. And they're all very senior level people who are L&D heads or part of HR, heading all those things, 15 years, 20 years of service. So in fact, with a little bit of concentration and a little bit of ideation, definitely it could be done.
Okay,
So,
thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot.
thank you so much, and God bless you all,
Hello,
and wish you all the
sir.
best.
I
Happy
have
Ganpati.
one.
Yes,
Yes.
Kanaya. Yes,
Hello.
Kanaya. You want to say?
Sir, I have one question. Very. Actually, what is the basic, different role between as a facilitator or instruction designer?
A trainer has got a
Hello.
set. Yes. You want to know the difference between a
Hello.
facilitator and a trainer? I heard you. I heard you, Kanaya.
Hello. Sir,
I heard you. I heard
I'm
you.
asking, sir.
Facilitator और trainer के बीच
Hello.
में फर्क क्या है?
And I'm asking, sir, one question that what is the basic difference between as a facilitator and instructional designer? Instructional designer.
Instructional designer will be a different requirement where we have, it's more related to the content, using of a software, and then linking it up with a maybe learning management system and things like that. Facilitator could be part of that system. Instructional designer is more of a technical, a more broader jargon actually. More
Okay, thank you,
sophisticated
sir.
term, yes. Okay. So thank you so much. Happy Ganpati, happy Ganesh Chaturthi to all of you all, and see you all next week. God bless you
Hello.
all.